I haven't been posting a lot lately, and that's because I have a lot of thoughts and they're really jumbled. And it all really comes back to the state of public education. That is something that impacts me greatly. I'm a mom of three and I'm a teacher. It is Autism Acceptance Month, it is Exceptional Children's Week, and there was also an announcement that in order to receive federal funds, K through 12 schools had to sign a certificate basically saying that they would no longer have any sort of DEI initiatives in their district, which is it's just a lot to to digest. The first thing that gets me is the fact that the federal government has said that if schools want to receive funding, they have to certify that they will not implement any DEI practices. I was thinking that we were supposed to give education back to the states. I thought that was what it was supposed to be about. And as a teacher, I follow state standards, not federal standards. So I'm not sure why that's a thing. I very much still cannot get over the fact that the acting assistant for the Secretary of Civil Rights said that federal financial assistance is a privilege, not a right, when it is the obligation of each state to provide a free public education for its children or access to one. So just an interesting thing. DEI is such a broad umbrella term for any sort of thing that don't match a Eurocentric lens, and it's kind of hard to see where it will stop. Of course, we know that this means that inclusion of any sort of narrative that does not fit a particular narrative will be excluded. But then also we have to wonder, what about IEPs, 504s, BIPs? Because those things are inclusive, period. They just are. They are things that students need in order to achieve at equal rates to their peers. Without accommodations, these students would not be able to be successful in the traditional classroom setting, which is honestly something that is a completely different story. But that is part of inclusion. That is part of diversity. That is part of equity. And so where does it end? Where does it stop? As for me, I decided to take a look at my state standards, not federal standards, state standards. And I wanted to kind of point out a few things, like section by section. And I wanted to point out things that center a Eurocentric point of view. And then at the end, I'm going to point out things that don't. And so I'm going to go through my standards. I have 5 standards for the year. They each have indicators, but 5 standards for the year. And well, my kiddo bathes in the background is not happy about it, but that's okay. That's fine. I teach a U.S. history course, and so in the beginning we talk about the economic, political, and social development of the 13 colonies. So economically we have geography, subsistence farming, and then cottage industry, along with shipbuilding and fishing. And then we have self-government that centers European viewpoints. We have the town hall meetings, House of Burgesses, Mayflower Compact, Virginia Charter, and the fundamental constitutions of the colony that will become the state that I am in. For a not specifically Eurocentric viewpoint, we have cash crops and plantations and the triangle trade. In the next one, we have the headright system, indentured servants, European settlers. And then from a non-Eurocentric perspective, we have, honestly, not a lot. There's the Barbados colony, which is honestly both. We have the transatlantic slave trade, free and enslaved Native Americans, and enslaved West Africans. The third indicator from a Eurocentric point of view, we have the navigation acts, mercantilism, salutary neglect, triangle trade, which is kind of both. That's about it. From a different perspective, we have the Stono Rebellion, but that is also coupled with the slave codes. So there's that. In the next indicator, we have the charter, the fundamental constitutions, the establishment of the first city, a royal government versus a proprietary government, and settling of the backcountry. There is nothing that is not a Eurocentric point of view in that particular indicator. In the next section, we have 2 categories. One is Native American tribes and nations, and the other is Native American experiences resulting from European settlement. So from a Eurocentric lens, we have trade interactions, clash over land ownership, disease, enslavement, conflict and war, And then from a non-Eurocentric lens, we have the cultures of the Eastern woodlands and their value systems. There is a reason that we have to intentionally work in other narratives, and that is because we do not have a full picture of history without those in there. The guidelines provided by states vary, and some states are more conservative, some are not. Some teach more inclusive history, some don't. And every child deserves to be represented in their education. Every child. And that's all I got. That's really all I got today.